What it do, everybody? You already know what it is. It's your boy, Ty G. We back in the building. Just want to say prayers for anybody who's watching this video today. Thank you for joining the fam. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. And we're going to get straight back into the topic today is don't envy someone else's life. And for us to get straight into it, let's get straight into the definition, where it's a feeling of discontent or resentfulness, longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. Why should we be downplaying our life for what somebody else may have, for the glimpses that you might see on social media, for the glimpses that you might see in highlights, in the best parts of their life, what you don't know or you do not know what they had to do to get that? Let's say you have family members who may be doing well financially, or friends, or you see celebrities, athletes, you see anybody who might be doing well financially. You don't know the work that they had to put in. You don't know the trauma that they went through. You don't know the relationships that they have in their life. You don't know the work-life balance or the many hours of work that they put in each week to have what they have. You don't understand how they might have mental illness or they might have addictions that you don't see. You just see the materialistic items. You see the lifestyle that they have that may be lavish. You see things that you might not have that look beneficial to you, but you do not know what they're sacrificing to have it. Which is why I'm saying we need to understand that we're seeing somebody else's highlights of their life when we look at their social media page. We might think somebody else's life is great from the surface level, but then when you get a little bit below it, you might say, oh, this is worse than I thought. I don't want that. And God tells us to look out for this. God tells us not to envy. God tells us not to focus on somebody else's life. And we see this in the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 30, which states, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Remember that. Envy rots the bones. You'll break down with envy because, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. This person has it. I don't have this car. I don't have these designer clothes. I don't have these sneakers. I didn't get to go on this trip. So nothing in your life looks perfect and you're rotting away. You're literally speaking death into yourself because of the materialistic items that somebody else has on this earth. And we have to realize that just because somebody has something that we don't, doesn't mean that their life is better. It does not mean that. You're sitting here pulling your hair out, stressing because you have envy for what somebody else has, what somebody else has worked for. What are you doing? What are you working for? What are you working towards? Who are you working for? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you doing to progress yourself forward? And me asking all these questions is that same way of, why am I envying for somebody else? Why am I envying for what somebody else has? For the lifestyle that they have? What's the point? You're tearing yourself down because you think the lifestyle that they have, that you could be in the position to live, would be better when you don't even know their entire life, their life story. You don't know the picture. Would you want the trauma that they went through? Look at rappers. Some of them may have exorbitant amounts of money. They might have fancy cars, mansions, even NBA players, but what? They have trauma in their past. They lost family members, they lost friends. They had people break their hearts. But because they got money in this lifestyle here on earth, because their lifestyle seems lavish here on earth, you want that? You know, a pastor today put this in my mind and made me realize this and understand the picture. When we stop focusing on being citizens of earth, but citizens of heaven, we'll stop valuing the possessions that we have here on earth. We'll stop valuing the necessary materialistic items that we look at as idols, that we look at as more important than what God has for us, that we look at it as more important than God's purpose for us, that we look at as more important than being in God's family, with God's people, in his community. And I'm not coming in here to speak down to anyone. It's because we all see it. I see it myself. I see somebody who may have a lot more followers, a lot more subscribers, a lot more money. And I say, I want that. But do I really want it if I don't know what comes with it? No. I don't know what that person had to sacrifice. I don't know what losses that person has in their life. I don't know what they're dealing with. But I want it because I see it at the surface level. We see surface level and we want it. We don't see anything below it, but we see surface level and we want it. We see people who post up about their relationships. Surface level, we want it. We see people that post up about their lifestyle. Surface level, we want it. Why? Why are we envying for it? It's gonna rot our bones. We're putting death inside of ourselves for somebody else's lifestyle that we didn't work for and that we don't really know how they got it, or we do, and we're envying what they have now, but we didn't see what they had before. Why? Because to you, you think everything would be better in that way. And you're not the only one who's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. We see somebody with a nice car. I want that car. Man, I wish I was him. I wish I'm him because I would get the car. That's why. I wish I was in his position because then I would get all of that. Do you really? How many of us would wish to be the MVP of the NFL, MLB, or call it NBA? But you don't see the many hours of work. You don't see the sacrifices that those players make. You don't see the scrutiny that they go through when they have a bad game, when they have a losing season, when they lose in the playoffs. Do you really want that position now? Or one bad game, one bad week, one bad month, you have people talking about you on ESPN. You'll be people talking about you everywhere, writing reviews about you, writing articles about you. Would you want that? People saying that you're messing up their bets. No, you wouldn't. And you couldn't handle that. For so many of us who say, oh, I wish that, I dream that. I envy that. I envy for that. You are not ready for it. You couldn't handle it. You wouldn't be able to put the hours of hard work in or sacrifice. So why envy for that? You know, J. Cole said this in a great song talking about love yours. There's no such thing as a life better than yours. We see somebody else's life and we think it's so much better, but we do not know what they went through to get it. We do not know what they're still going through. We do not know the hardships that they had. So why are we valuing their life more than ours? Why are we valuing their life more than ours? What's the benefit of that? Because for us, it's hurting us more mentally than that'll lead to physically. And we're not doing anything and we're keeping our spirit down because we think the materialistic items or the lifestyle that somebody else has here on earth when we're not citizens of earth. We're meant to be citizens of heaven. We're meant to be the man of God. We're meant to be the woman of God. We're meant to walk in what God's purpose is for us. Now, I'm not saying having things of value or building a good life or going on trips are a bad thing. That's when we look at what others have and we're envying what they have. We're putting it above what God has for us. And it's so easy for you to get overwhelmed and say, well, this person's life looks easy. That's because that's what they're showing you. That's what they choose to put in front of a camera lens. That's how they choose to be portrayed. You might not know everything. And then when you learn about it later, you're saying, I don't want that lifestyle. Never mind, I don't want it. At the end of the day, we have to understand there's no benefit in envying in celebrities, family members, friends, whoever it is, it's going to rot you. We see how God has already warned us. A heart at peace. I'm at peace with what I have in life. Yeah, I know I might want more. Yeah, I know I'm striving for more and striving to get better every day, but I'm at peace with what God has put in my life, the purpose that He's leading me, the path that He's leading me down. Because that path that person took to maybe get that lifestyle, to live that lifestyle, to have those cars, to have those materialistic items, to have what they're showing you, that could be the path to death. That could be the path that the enemy gave them of shiny toys, objects, and idolizations of things that aren't and shouldn't be above our Maker. At the end of the day, we have to understand that those paths for those people will lead to death. And you following it just to have what they have on the surface level isn't going to make you feel better. Because at the end of the day, we understand that when we're not walking in the purpose that God has for us, there's nothing that's going to bring us joy and love like what he has for us. Matter of fact, look at Deion Sanders after he won the Super Bowl. He wrote a note talking about thinking about killing himself because he thought when he won the Super Bowl, when he had that big materialistic win, when he was on top of the world, he thought it was going to bring him all the joy and peace that he was seeking. And it didn't. It didn't. So why do you think that you're different? Why do you think that your circumstance would be different? Because it won't. And we have to understand, just like how I said earlier in Proverbs, if envy is going to rot the bones, I shall no longer envy for what somebody else has, but just be thankful for what God has provided me and what he has continued to provide for me. But all right, y'all, I just want to say, did you like, comment, share, subscribe yet? Because you already know what it is. We're dropping gems day after day, weekly. We get into it. Let's get it. I'm going to catch you in the next one. We out.